One more night, and the battle's on. So let's have a great day today. Great practice, tons of energy. Mental prep is key.
Set.
Gary Gait is in his 4th year coaching the most decorated lacrosse program in history.
Here we go.
Almost 4 decades earlier, Gary and his identical twin brother Paul came to Syracuse and revolutionized the sport.
Back to Gary, fake, score.
Coach was pretty creative and probably got the smartest lacrosse mind.
He's an innovative coach. He understands the game. He still has the same mentality that he had when he played.
Now, Gary faces his greatest challenge, returning Syracuse to glory in the aftermath of a life-altering accident.
She's like, oh my God, your brother fell from the ceiling.
Growing up in Victoria, British Columbia, Gary and his twin brother Paul became 2 of lacrosse's brightest young talents, catching the eye of Syracuse head coach Roy Simmons Jr.
Syracuse midfielders, the Golden Gates, number 19, Paul Gait, number 22, Gary Gait.
Why was Coach Simmons the perfect coach for you and your brother?
He really liked it. We played, a very creative style.
Gait behind the back. It's in.
Ball behind the backs to Gary. Yes.
It allowed us to be different because there was no other coach in the country that was going to let a team play like that.
One great moment that I think everybody knows about against Penn, Gary jumped over the goal and dunked it.
Now to Gary Gait behind. Stuffed it in.
And the place went crazy.
Gary Gait leaped over the gate and stuffed it in.
And then just to prove it wasn't luck, he did it again in the 3rd period.
He is becoming the Michael Jordan of lacrosse.
And it quickly got called Air Gate. And all of a sudden, Gary could do things that no one else could do. But so could Paul.
Paul Gait going airborne.
The Gait brothers led Syracuse to multiple national titles and ignited a 2-decade-long dynasty.
There it is! For the record, 10th time in school history, Syracuse wins the national championship.
The Gait brothers started a wildfire across the country, and everybody wanted to come to Syracuse to play this game.
After finishing their Syracuse careers in 1990, the brothers became the faces of professional lacrosse, but eventually took different career paths.
Paul loved making equipment. He got into manufacturing, and he spent his full time coming up with new stick designs, new equipment designs. The raised sidewall stringing holes allow the pocket depth to be increased by more than 1 centimeter. I took what I learned and started coaching.
In 1995, Gary became an assistant at Maryland, helping the women's team win 7 straight national titles, before returning to Syracuse as a head coach in 2007, where he led their women's program to 8 Final Fours.
Syracuse storms the field in elation.
In 2021, in the midst of a championship drought, Syracuse handed the reins of the men's program to its most legendary player.
I'm certainly thrilled to have that opportunity to try and bring that back to the program and create a real buzz around the way Syracuse plays again.
With Gary back in upstate New York, the brothers went into the equipment manufacturing business together, launching Gait Lacrosse.
I was more like a marketing guy, but Paul, he runs the company.
On November 3rd, 2022, as Paul winterized the company warehouse, life for the Gait brothers changed forever.
I called our VP. She's like, oh my God, your brother fell from the ceiling. He's bleeding all over. And I just jumped in my car and raced off to Albany and met him at the hospital. He had fell. He hit his head, knocked himself out going through the rafters of the ceiling, and was falling headfirst to the ground about 20 feet. He landed on a sawhorse, and that's actually what broke his back.
Paul suffered 6 broken ribs and 3 fractured vertebrae in his upper back. Doctors performed spinal fusion surgery, but the damage was irreparable. Paul was paralyzed from the waist down.
The first week was kind of a blur. You know, I knew there was people there after, but I don't really remember what was said. But after the second week, when I went to rehab, Gary stepped up and said, "Look, I'm here for you. I'll take on as much as I can if you need me to."
Gary was, ready to support his brother any way that he could in a competitive nature. Like, let's get it going. Let's get this thing dealt with.
So this is the stim bike. So right now, his legs with the stim are doing all of the work. It's pretty awesome.
It's a challenge, but it's life. You just adapt and keep going.
17 months after his accident, Paul's legacy was immortalized alongside Gary on the very field they became legends.
It just made me very, very happy when his went up and they're side by side the way they should be.
Inspired by his brother's perseverance, Gary says he's determined to bring the program they helped build back to prominence.
We know we can beat anybody if we put it together.
I think we're trying to bring that old Cuse mentality back.
Spallina turns, fires, and scores.
He's always trying to have a style of play on the field that allows the players to be a little creative. They're a fun team to watch.
Biggest win of the Gary Gait era.
I tell my players this all the time. You should believe and feel it that you're going to win every game. And it doesn't always happen. But you always give yourself a chance if you truly believe that. And I do.
What you do?
Go, boys.